Hey guys, and welcome to yet another tier list of mine. This time around we are sorting the relics in Northgard. Let's start. First off we have the basic relics with the Mjölnir, Jörmunr and Gefjun's jar. Both Mjölnir and Jörmunr are very decent. Mjölnir is very good on niche clans like the horse, like the snake. With the horse you can forge faster, with the snake you get like an AoE on your poison attacks, but it's very niche. Like it's bordering on bad, but it's not that bad, so I would put it in decent. Same goes for Jörmunr. Simply decent because there are so many stronger relics. There are some clans who really thrive with Jörmunr, for example Stag, which can just take tiles without a cap. So you can take as many tiles as you want with this relic, using your faith. And Boar is still decent with that clan if you don't have Jar. Speaking of Jar, we have the first broken relic in the game. Basically, every clan can forge that relic and it will be an upgrade to your eco. Even tier clans, such as the Lynx, can actually forge that relic and strive with it. Some clans are stronger with Jar than others, but basically every clan gets an upgrade when forging that relic. Then let's go with the first clan relic of the game, starting with the Stag relic. And Einherjars, not gonna lie, they are pretty strong and they are a very good alternative to the Jar build. I would rank this relic pretty highly because right now there are a lot of very strong military clans in the game, and this relic basically makes it so the Stag can actually contest these clans. Next is the Goat relic, and man oh man, like I was told the Goat relic used to be so good, and when I started out it was already not that good already, but now it's just plain bad. It's like, you sacrifice way too much tempo. The Goat clan can feast anyway without the relic like 5 times in 801 and 800 for that matter. So you don't really need that relic, it's just a waste of mining iron and a waste of 2 forging smiths, forging useless piece of junk. It's not like you're trolling, like I see the merits sometimes, but not really. It's just very bad. Not like the Wolf relic. The Wolf relic is very, very strong. I thought it was like a bad to decent, but in case of like the Wolf matchup, if you play Wolf against Wolf, the Wolf relic can actually make the difference. The wolves themselves are very annoying. They can bypass neutrals, they don't use any upkeep, and they are relatively tanky. Like if 2 wolves are fighting and one wolf has like 10 and the other wolf has 9 and the one with 9 has 3 wolves, the one with 9 is gonna win every time with the same forge. So that is it for the wolf. Let's go for the Raven relic. And the Raven relic, it's decent in my opinion. Decent only because it kinda contradicts the nature of the Raven clan. Raven is very high tempo. He can scout the map very fast, he will go on your face, early 802, maybe even late 801 if he has a good spawn. And the Raven relic is not that good usually, like on most of the maps, like 90% of the time it's not good. I would even rank it bad. But on some maps with lots of coasts, it's actually decent to forge it because giants will give you a flat value of resources. Keep in mind though, the relic is only decent if there are coasts and if the map is made for it. Same goes for the Bear relic. I would even like rate it as strong, but the problem is Bear in itself badly needs a buff. It needs a rework at least in some type of form. It's just too slow. And yeah, I think you would have already guessed it. Forging a relic makes your clan even lower. So you either sacrifice your eco in order to forge a relic, or you sacrifice like placing an altar, getting 500. And even though the relic is strong, it doesn't really fit in the meta, and I would say it's decent to forge it, but it's very, very hard to execute, and I don't think it's actually executable. So that's why I put the Bear relic at decent. It's not like the Boar relic when I literally see that and I think, yeah, you're legit trolling. The Boar relic, it used to be great. I think you used to like spawn boars on all the forest tiles, but it's not great anymore. It's super bad. The Boar is a tanky unit, like don't get me wrong, if the enemy takes a dumb fight and the Boar tanks a lot of shots, it can be okay-ish, but I mean, if the enemy is not taking a bad fight, then it's bad. The problem with the Boar is, first of all, you need like all the time to forge the Boar relic instead of the Jar. Jar is super good on Boar. You take all the time to forge the Boar relic instead of Jörmunr. Jörmunr is really good with Boar. So why would you ever forge this if you have both the Jar and the Jörmunr at your disposal? And even then, it's so bad. Because the Boar, basically, if it gets attacked, it takes the fight anyway. So if you get caught even one time, the Boar is toast. And come on, like, sacrificing it for food is not really that worth it. Like, that is borderline trolling. Same goes for the snake relic, by the way. It can be borderline trolling if you are like in a snake versus snake matchup and it's very fast 801 paced game. But the snake relic can still be decent. The dodge chance is not that bad. But if you forge a relic, would you forge snake relic or would you forge mojo? I feel like forging Mjölnir is oftentimes better than forging the snake relic. So why ever go for snake relic if you're playing this? So here comes the dragon. And in my humble opinion, it's decent. It's not strong, it's decent. The problem is, even though the giants don't use upkeep and can have like an infinite amount of giants, the giants don't do that much for the clan. The clan itself needs buffs as well. The Dragon Clan has some problems getting its warband online, and even if it gets the warband online, it might be too late. Like if you are ready in middle 802 with the Dragon, you are too late. An Ox will wipe you off the floor with you. The Kraken will wipe the floor with you. So you basically only play for 801. And if you play for 801, then the relic is kind of useless, because then you only have one giant. And that's not what the relic is for. If it's like an FFA, and Ox and Lion would be banned, I would put that relic in strong. But as far as it goes for now, I'd put it at decent. So next is the Horse relic. And funnily enough, this is yet another relic I would put at decent. I know the decent tier is very filled up right now, but it's gonna change, okay? I promise. So, Horse relic, decent, same as with the other relics. There are simply two other relics which are very good at Horse and even better in my opinion. It's Mojo, like forging Mjölnir, and after forging Mjölnir, you've basically forge Jar or you forge Jörmunr. In my opinion, the Horse relic is not that bad because it's still a good clan relic. It's just not as strong as Jar and it's just not as strong as Jörmunr. And yeah, next relics are both the Lynx and the Kraken relic. I'll make it short. If you're forging these relics, you are legit trolling the Lynx traps. Even if they get triggered on a tile with a lot of enemies, they basically don't do anything and you sacrifice your whole eco in order to forge that relic. Same goes for the Kraken relic. You're basically sacrificing a lot of eco in order to spawn a Kraken once a year. Once a year! And then he feasts and attacks ships. I mean, okay, first of all, I know it's very clan themed. The clan doesn't have dogs, so it's nice if it attacks other dogs, and if it attacks dogs, you get the gold. But come on, the enemy will just stop its dogs or build a lighthouse, and you basically have a relic that says feast once in a year for free. Yeah, that's not it, right? So next is the most broken, if not the best relic in the game, which is the Ox relic. And man, oh man, is that relic absolutely broken. Like, I can't even put in words how strong this relic is. Your Thorfinn can taunt enemy waves of warriors into its face. Thorfinn in itself is a huge tank, like he can tank a lot, especially with Unstoppable. And that relic will win you fights outright. That relic makes it so that Ox is absolutely uncontestable. If you're fighting against 16 Ox warriors with a bowband of 25, you're gonna lose. And it's not even gonna be close, because Ox will just press relic, everyone will charge the war chief, and the rest of the Ox warriors will just clean you up. That's about it. One of the best relics in the game. With the Squirrel relic, I feel like Squirrel relic is very aesthetically pleasing. It's not as bad as the goat relic, don't get me wrong. But I mean, why forge the Squirrel relic if you can have Jar? And even if you forge it, What does it even do? It will defend your tiles. It might be decent in very few scenarios, but the clan itself, the Squirrel clan, is not in a good place right now. It might be better in some cases. You can semi-meal your allies, you can befriend neutrals very fast, but then why would you forge Relic? Like, it doesn't really fit the clan. It doesn't have any impact, and the way it spreads takes so long. If you don't rush that in 801, the spreading of the relic takes so long, and it's like actually not that impactful. Which is sad. I really like this relic. Having enemies attack each other is such a cool thing. But yeah, Squirrel relic sadly very bad. Now we have the Eagle relic, and honestly I feel like the Eagle relic, just be in front of the Wolf relic, is pretty good. If you are in an 802 game and if the game goes on for quite a while, this is a great way for the Eagle to scale in an unscalable map. So let's say Eagle has discovered all the treasure, hit the 500, discovered all the treasure again. Now what? Can't really attack, enemy is ready, so the Eagle Relic is a great way to enhance the strength of your military. And since your clan has an abundance of iron anyway, most of the time, and actually an abundance of coins, it's not that big of a hit to your eco if you forge that relic. Plus you get like resources, you get a heal on the tile, and your warriors, the warband in general, gets stronger. That's pretty good, not gonna lie. Eagle Relic is not that bad. Next is the Owl Relic, and honestly Owl Relic is what makes the clan a clan. Like, Owl clan is not a clan without the clan relic. So I would put it in front of the Jar because it's actually vital for the clan. Maybe even put it in front of the Ox Relic in terms of that it's vital for the clan, but the Ox Relic is still so much stronger in my humble opinion. So I would put the Ox Relic still number 1. Same goes for the Red Relic. Red Relic is super strong if you can get it going. Garm is a unit that doesn't use any upkeep. It also is a very tanky and very fast unit, not to be underestimated. You can summon it for food in your shaman camp and that's it. And then you have the unit for the entirety of the time. Now, here comes an unpopular opinion, I think. Garm Relic is super broken. I feel like the fear for the clan can be game-changing, but it's very hard to execute that because the enemies will dodge these fights. And even though the clan relic of the Garm is broken in its own right, it's kinda rough to forge that relic very early because basically you want to play for 801 and that relic basically says, yeah, we're gonna play 802. The few times I got the clan relic in a ranked game, this relic is actually game changing and it decides fights simply because of the fear of your berserkers. So I think Garm Relic actually broken. Low-key broken. So here comes the Codex, and I feel like Codex is a strong relic simply because it fits with the Lion. There are 2 Lion builds actually. There is the Codex Lion and the Holy Fire Lion, and in some rare cases Codex is actually pretty good for Lion. And it's not only good for Lion, but it's good for Stowed as well in some cases. It's simply a conversion of you don't need to use any Taverners anymore and your monks produce happiness for you. And that's basically it. Lion is pretty good with that. I think Holy Fire is better than that. I think Holy Fire is absolutely broken. Holy Fire will just wipe out armies. Codex is a very decent relic. They are not really comparable. They are very different. Codex is for eco. Holy Fire is for simply winning the game. Sometimes if you have a faster game and if you think, yeah, Holy Fire is not gonna cut it, you're not gonna be in time for Holy Fire to have its value, you can sometimes forge Codex. But apart from that, it's gonna be the Holy Fire relic. Next is the Lance of Longinus. If you forge that relic instead of Codex or Holy Fire, you are legit trolling. The Lance makes it so that units which died can be resurrected. It doesn't sound too bad in itself, but it actually is. Because you can't really sustain double the amount of warband anyway, and that forces you to fight. And the units that get resurrected are getting resurrected as wounded. So you have a strong warband which just kills you eco-wise and you're gonna starve, and it's not even full health. And it's very situational because you want to lose your army first in order to resurrect them later. Yeah, you are seeing where I'm going with this, right? And next is Altar of Volvinius. I think this relic, sadly, I like the relic, don't get me wrong. I like it a lot. on Stag. Like, it's literally the only relic on Stag I like apart from Jörmunr. But the problem is, right now with the meta, if you forge that relic, you're gonna be relatively late. I feel like your best timing is middle 802, late 802 with that relic. I'm not convinced. I would love to be convinced, but I think like if you forge a relic on Stag, Codex / Jörmunr are still the way to go. Jörmunr for FFA just to fame win with Faith, which is really neat. And maybe even Holy Fire with Stag so nobody can attack you. So why would you ever build that? I wouldn't say you're trolling if you build the Ashara Volvinius, but mate, it's not really that good. So that is my tier list for the relics in Northgard. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you liked it, feel free to like and subscribe, it helps me a lot. And tell me in the comments what you think of this list. And as always, thank you so much for watching and take care. Bye bye.